Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Sean Anderson, Most Valuable Podcast, and the upcoming segment is from our full Fast Break podcast that we recorded. And if you do want to check out that full podcast, head over to Blog Talk Radio/The Fast Break. You'll be able to find the full podcast over there. Let's move on to Isaiah Thomas, one of the hottest players in the NBA right now. He's been absolutely on fire. I believe 5 days ago, he had a streak of like 7 straight games where he was averaging like 39.1 points per game.
Jesus Christ.
On fire, just beat the Lakers tonight, had 17 points in the fourth quarter, and ended up with, I believe it was 44 points. I don't have the stats in front of me right now. The internet's being a little bit slow, and it's not loading. But he ended up with 38 points in 38 minutes. Been absolutely on fire. So the question I want to ask you guys, obviously he's been playing out of his mind since coming over to Boston. He's been an all-star. You can argue he's been a superstar. Does he deserve a max contract when his contract comes up? So he's full through this year, and then he's got another year with Boston. He'll be 29 years old after the 2017-2018 season. That's when he'll be a free agent. Does he deserve a max contract?
At 29, I mean, it's one of those situations where you look around the league and you start to wonder. That's still prime, but it's starting to get a little long in the tooth for today's NBA. I think the thing that kind of reassures me about Isaiah is the fact that his game is around speed and his ability to think quickly and react to the defense in front of him. Mm-hmm. So I think that he might slow down a little bit, but he's still leagues ahead of everyone else in speed. So he'll be able to abuse that pretty well. I would give him a max contract. I mean, he has been improving year after year, and the one of the most impressive things about it is that he's able to kind of control the way this team's going. And it was one of those things where he started coming off the bench for them initially in Boston, and it was that real jolt. He was like a great six man. I was like, this is probably where he's going to cap out. This is his role. And then he got that starting role, and he just kept getting better and better, and his game kept growing with him. And I was just like, all right, I was wrong, dude. You're just blowing fucking my socks off right now.
This streak has been literally insanity.
He's Mr. Clutch right now in the fourth quarter.
And what you can really compare him to is AI. And yes. what I want to look at is really for Isaiah is what Allen Iverson did around this age. And if you look at him, at 29 years old, he put up ridiculous numbers. AI put up 30.7 points per game. Next season, he averaged 33. Then he had a drop-off year, went around 31, and then he went around 26. And then that was really the last great year we saw from Allen Iverson. He was 32, and he put up 26 points with Denver in the 2007-2008
with that athleticism and speed, I mean, you can just abuse people all day.
The thing I think of is when you ask the question, does he deserve it? My follow-up question is, are the Nets still a team? And the answer will be yes. Then yes, he deserves a max deal. The point being that one of the teams that are towards the bottom, one of the teams that are towards the bottom, either west or the east, they're gonna need a guy who can be their playmaker, a guy that. Like, you can debate, is he a 1, is he a 2? Well, a guy that they can pay to be their number 1 and would be happy with him being their best player on the team, or the best player with the ball in his hand.
So we are just assuming that he's not going to re-sign with Boston.
Well, and the thing with Boston is I was thinking this in my head as Dave was talking. Didn't we see a similar situation with Rajon Rondo? Like, not exactly to the T, but one of those ones where when he was younger, growing up, he was not getting paid as much. He had the big three ahead of him. Then by the time it was time for him to take it over, he had his kind of little, to me, falling out with Boston. And it's like, I'm going to take my talent somewhere else.
But that's more Rondo's personality.
I think
Isaiah is really embracing Boston. I mean, showing up to New England games with a jersey.
The thing that it's going to be for Isaiah, with Rondo, was his attitude. And it's like, I'm going to take it to, I just remember what the Kings.
It
hasn't been
Dallas
and then the Kings, and it hasn't been like it was in Boston. With Isaiah, it's going to be, do I want to give you max years and max money when I kind of feel like father time, like they say, father time is undefeated. Is there going to be
29 is not. You're still in your prime.
I'm not saying at 29. I'm saying towards the end of that contract.
Oh, you're paying for 3 years of production.
Am I going to be
you're going to get punished for the last, probably.
And he's going to be 32, 33 when that max comes up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 4-year contract. I don't know what the max will be at that time.
Right,
obviously
it may bump.
the salary cap's going to jump up. But if you're paying for a guy who, I mean, currently is averaging, and we'll get to the Boston question again because I don't think we fully finished that. If you were paying a guy to be the star of your team, or at least a part of a great team, who's averaging 29 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, he's got a PER of 27.9, pretty much up there with the best in the NBA.
Yep.
I would honestly feel comfortable with paying him that, because you look at what he can do when he is on fire. He's able to get to the free throw line. He's been able to knock down his threes at around 40%, which is good. I mean, and he does play a lot of off ball. He doesn't make obviously he does drive to the lane a lot. That's why he's getting to the free throw line. But he does still have that ability to come off ball and play that way. So I think that Isaiah Thomas is worth a max if it's the right team and right fit, because if he's not the right team and right fit, he might be a stat booster, but I don't think he's going to get a lot of help, because Boston is the perfect situation for him. But with Boston's current situation with that Nets pick, I don't think he's going to be in Boston, because if you check out my last mock draft, the 1.0, they currently are sitting with the number 1 pick overall, or at least have the best option to get the number 1 overall pick, with the Nets being
the team that's tanking without their own pick.
Yeah, they have 25%.
Tanking without even trying.
They have a 25% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, and they would pick Markelle Fultz, who's the best player coming out of this draft.
Well,
and the second best player is Lonzo Ball, who, again, is a point guard.
And that's really the thing that's going to be, to me, the one thing I think of, and this goes to your question of when I was throwing out our teams, you go, whoa, it means he's not coming back to Boston. The thing I think of is, does it really matter where Isaiah Thomas goes? Because right now there's 2 teams that are going to, for the foreseeable future,
parity is pretty dead in the NBA.
So really it's like you can go to any team in the East, doesn't matter. LeBron's going to the finals. And right now you can go to any team that will give you a max contract in the West, doesn't matter. The Warriors are going to be there.
So I've got...
This is 2 years from now. So we don't know what the landscape will be like. KD might, the Warriors might be beaten by San Antonio, and then KD might be saying,
Warriors
"Hey, my next
are still
chapter
going to be
is
a
this
really
place."
good team if KD wins.
And then Team Benevento could reunite. I mean, lots of things could happen.
Sure.
We don't know.
Hey, there's the Melo to New York.
LeBron.
Melo to Cleveland.
I hate doubting the guy, but LeBron will be 34 at that time.
Yeah, he doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But
how many straight times has he been to the finals?
7.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
My thing.
I'm joking.
So here's my conflict here. Boston right now is a young team, and they've got a ton of assets available to them. And they've got, one rock in Al Horford, who, they went out and spent money in free agency. That was their big pickup. He's not doing bad. He's not doing great. He's there at this point. It
wasn't the main prize, though. The main prize was KD, obviously.
Right, so they missed out on that. But
they pulled out Tom Brady for it.
Oh, my God. No one wants to come here for Tom Brady. They don't even deserve to be here.
I wonder if Tom Brady told KD the story about how his dad's his hero. And if you didn't choose Boston after hearing that, then he must have a heart of stone.
Yeah, must be true.
But go on with what you're saying.
So
that timeline doesn't match up. So having a Super Bowl media week. That was after the anyway. Dave,
Dad still is
let's
hero,
keep the
man.
basketball. As much as I love talking about Tom Brady, let's talk about basketball here.
all right, so I think I left off at Isaiah.
It was Al Horford. They brought in Al Horford. It's a younger
lots
team.
of assets. That's right.
Lots of assets. Jaylen Brown,
young
they just
team.
drafted.
Right. So, and they're going to get another top pick this year. This is a team that is growing, and I think that they can set themselves up for. They're going to compete every year, and they're going to be a top, 4 team in the East, likely without any crazy thing going down. I think you pay him the money, and you will help. He helps you transition this team from a perennial playoff team to a perennial championship team. Like, they can compete for a championship year after year if their picks pan out. And I know it's saying a lot, but when you see guys as talented as a Markelle Fultz coming out of college and someone like Jaylen Brown, who we've seen, flashes of potential, and he's got the build. Mm-hmm. He's got the build for it, and he's got the speed. And he's picking up pretty well in limited minutes.
Yeah, he needs to add strength, and he needs to get bigger. But I mean,
in
still,
2
you
years,
see the raw athleticism. Exactly,
right?
2 years.
That's where we're looking at. So,
and if they keep Avery Bradley, I mean, he's been fantastic this year, just getting better. I mean, he's not a guy that really uses athleticism to get by. He's just a guy who's a great shooter.
I think the big thing here is this is a team that has a lot of guys who are continuing to raise their own stock, and I think he's like a great piece to to have that team built up around. Mm-hmm. Even if by the end of this, midway through that max contract, he might not be the best player in the team anymore, but he's still going to be the guy who is there, who helped build it. And that I think means a lot to the team. The only thing I'm concerned about is I know Boston is very they like to be very smart with their teams and the way they're run, and I am a little
Danny
concerned.
Ainge wants to be the smartest guy in the room.
And that's what scares me. I feel like Danny Ainge is going to work him out. And I don't think that Isaiah will be there because Danny Ainge really, it's not the best move for business. And you know what? Teams were going to give us 17 first-round picks. Or they want they want 17 of our first-round picks. So I just said no. I was like, nah, I'm going to pass next. I'm the smart guy here, not you.
Yeah,
like every made up story.
We'll take
about failed trades.
We'll take 4 first rounders from you 3 years from now.
Yep.
And look how that's worked out.
Going off of that though, with Danny Ainge, the choice that they could make is in the draft. If they go ahead and let's say they get the first, like they had in your mock draft, and they take Markel Fultz. I almost said Fultz again.
Oh my God,
almost Fultz that.
But if they take Markel. To me, they could just do that and say, well, we don't have to trade Isaiah. We can go spend that money somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's the
we can go spend it on a different free agent that A, may be a little younger, and B, might be a position that we actually need because it's one of those things where they will be drafting Markel, and it won't be like, well, you're the starter for Isaiah. It'll be, no, Isaiah, you still have to start because you're still here.
Oh, definitely. Isaiah's a better player right now.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying that Markel would come in and start over him, but it's one of those where it's like, we can have you be on the bench while you play out your last year here.
See, that's the thing, is I think that it's exactly what Dave said. It's a mix of he's not going to stay in Boston because you have so many assets there, and it's exactly what you said of if those assets might turn into a guy like Markel Fultz.
It also comes down to
money.
Not just that. At that age, it's going to be who's going to give me the best option to win a ring.
I don't think he's there yet.
And the thing also with that too is I think it's more of this is contract time. This is where I might get my max contract, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. If someone
does he deserve
who was the last
contract?
one who got a max contract this past year?
Conley, Parsons.
Yeah. If a guy like Conley can get a max contract, no offense to him, but Isaiah can get a max contract. Like, I'm not even, there's no question.
I'm not saying he doesn't
Someone's going to give him a max contract. It only takes one team in the NBA to offer it. The Nets are going to do it. So you might as well, somebody else will do it too.
I just feel like the Nets would be that dick of a team to go.
Well, they do that with restricted free agents every year.
Here's a huge contract. Hey, Boston, going to match it?
Exactly, because one way, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for them.
The thing that I wanted to get to
even if they don't make the playoffs.
The thing I want to get to is the assets and then the pick, because I don't think it's going to be Boston because you have so many assets. You have the possibility of drafting
Smart's actually been improving.
He's not going to be your number one, though.
No, he's not number one, but I'm saying he's a complementary piece to Fultz.
Yeah.
That's why I think you have your 1-2 there.
And one thing too is you gotta look at the market. And again, we're going back to the question of does he deserve a max contract? The way he's been playing, yes, but again, there's the playoffs right now. He's got to take this and carry this over to the playoffs, and then he's got to stay healthy for the next year.
Yep.
And it's more about what will the market give him. We've seen the market be ridiculous. Mozgov getting a ton of money, Bismack Biyombo getting a ton of money. Dane getting a ton of money, and then obviously Parsons getting a max contract, Conley getting a max contract. We see money flying, but again, is it going to be really risk and reward?
Right, but you see
Isaiah's 29, and will he be able to carry that through the 4 years of the max contract? And that's the biggest thing is, will the market match the value that we see right now? And I don't think it will. Well, I'm sorry, I think it will, and that's why I don't think he will be a Boston Celtic. I don't know what team,
but he's getting a max somewhere.
I think he will get a max, and I think it's just because of the market value.
Here's another thing I want to throw out, and this is the tinfoil hat has come out. It is the first time I put it on this year officially. Here's something I just thought of, and this very plays into what Danny Ainge could do. This year, one of the big reports, it was reported at the draft time. We just had it this week. Who's one player that's been reported to maybe being traded to Boston?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. I wouldn't be surprised. Just listen. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Ainge tried to do something where these reports are there, but nothing is done. The draft happens. They get a guy like Markel Fultz, and then next year, because they have their pick and Brooklyn's pick, it's one of those things where it's like, Isaiah's out the door. We got our point guard here. Let's get the superstar. And basically, they switch the guy from Isaiah to Jimmy with Markel as your point guard with Jimmy. and try
It's
to
weird, but
bring in
I-
that superstar.
I don't think
and
that's crazy.
They have their own pick, Brooklyn's pick, in case the Bulls want those
Right.
picks.
But according to Danny Ainge, the Chicago Bulls will want their pick, Brooklyn's pick, their pick next year, their pick the following year, their second the following
Your
year.
2032
You know what they could
protected
do?
top 3 pick.
Yeah.
You know what I could see Danny Ainge doing? You could have our pick, you could have Brooklyn's pick, but then you get Memphis's pick because that's in
He
2019.
We're giving them picks for Isaiah at this point. That's how Danny Ainge is thinking.
Okay, I guess. I'm just saying they would try to bring in Jimmy.
They
now
could.
that they already
I'm just
know
being an
they
asshole to
have
Danny Ainge because
the
I'm so sick of every
replacement
trade he does.
To Isaiah.
All right, let's get off what Boston.
The man is max money.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So he's max money.
Unless he blows out something in the next year and a half, or he just chokes in the playoffs, like K-Love chokes in the playoffs.
I mean, did you see the last possession?
He had
Stop
one.
Steph.
The man got benched for 2 series.
Game 7.
He's come off the bench.
Game 7.
I
Game
understand.
7. Caleb was dominant.
Oh, I'm not going to disagree.
Grabbing boards,
I'm a
getting
Caleb
2 points.
fan, but when you choke in the
Didn't
playoffs that
Boston
hard,
end the streak as well?
brings your value down.
No,
the Warriors streak,
the
right?
24
home
game
one.
streak.
The one that the home winning
the
streak.
home game winning streak they did. Milwaukee broke the 24 game winning streak. But max money, yes, Dave.
Absolutely.
Max
Yeah.
money. Mm-hmm. I think he'll get max money. I don't think it'll be from Boston. I think we agree there.
And it's a tricky situation of will he get it and does he deserve it? I think he
does
deserves
deserve
it and
it.
will get it.
Okay, yeah, I think we all agree that he
I
does
think some
deserve
people
it.
could make the case of he will get it, but he doesn't deserve it, and that's why I'd like to see that in the comments.
I would
section.
honestly say it's flipped.
And Boston, just to update on the fly here, became again the winningest team in NBA history by beating the Lakers again tonight.
Because they were tied.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. I think it's actually a flipped argument where he does deserve it. I don't think you can deny what he's been able to do scoring wise. I mean,
think about this year. This is a year of just highlight players all year. We're seeing the craziest stats. We're seeing some of the best performances we've ever seen in
we're seeing
NBA
it all from
history.
the
Well, you
point guard
got
position.
to give us something to watch while we wait for Warriors Cavs.
But we're also seeing it from the point guard position. James Harden, Russ Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, these guys are having ridiculous years, and that's one thing. That's why I think Markelle Fultz is going to be a game changer, or Lonzo Ball is going to be a game changer, because you see how important and how big the point guard position is coming. We all talk about the point forward, but really it's been this point guard position that has really been the carriers of these teams, and I think that's going to be interesting to see. It's not really the size of the guy carrying the ball; it's who is carrying the ball. And Isaiah Thomas is pretty much unmatched. I mean, he's a top 5 player right now in the NBA. The way he's been playing this regular season. Final tinfoil hat putting on here. If we're talking about, you mentioned money. If they don't sign him, you got to look at the free agency class for when Isaiah will become a free agent.
Who else is out there?
There's a guy out there that we've talked endlessly about going to the Celtics, who's going to be a free agent. Dave, do you know who that is?
I don't want to talk about it.
It's Boogie.
It's Boogie.
I don't want to talk about it.
It is Boogie. So, just throwing it out there.
We've said Boogie, Jimmy Butler, and Carmelo Anthony every week for the last year and a half.
And you also got to mention, we've talked about the Celtics trading for one of those players every single week.
Yeah.
But just want to throw it out there. Then you might have Markelle Fultz, Avery Bradley, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and DeMarcus Cousins. And that might win you a championship. Just saying.
Depends on where LeBron is.
Lineup.
Let's talk about
Again, LeBron could be a free agent every year.
Let's talk about it in 2 years. But
Yep.
I think that we can all agree that he is worth that money. And
He's fire
he'll
right
most
now.
likely get that money because he's been absolutely ridiculous.
And the last thing I just want to throw out there one more time, the thing that you and me talked about, the will deserve argument. I want to hear what you guys have to say either on Twitter or in the comment section because I'm really curious to hear what they think.
They're totally going to tell us in the comments. But anyways, thank you. Oh, shit. Oh, it's just one of our videos scared me a little bit. Don't forget to check out that one. And also don't forget to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.